love this song. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard this in a while. Welcome back, you guys. We're here. Today's part of the video, we're gonna go over vocals, explaining kind of what I did, why I did it, and why it felt right.
I'm late again. I only remember no specific components.
Okay, so it's an intro. This is leading up to obviously something bigger. Lyrically and vocally, you just hear it kind of setting the tone for the story, kind of like giving you a reference point of where you're standing. This was before I even knew that I was gonna put strings in there. These vocals were recorded before then, but I just loved how subtle it was, and then to lead up to like the, you know, so there is a key change that comes in. But now you, and I really loved how interesting that felt to the ear. It feels like you think you know where you're at, and then you realize you don't. And I think that that just made so much sense for the song and for the actual like subject matter and all of that. That's what makes it interesting and fun for me. But it also just adds this like feeling of like melancholy. Like it adds this feeling of almost like yearning and sadness. So let's get into it. I'm sorry for that. Okay, so a few things there. As far as actual vocal things go, I really was intentional about flipping into my head voice for that, because I felt like the song is already changing keys, so there's that aspect of like change that's gonna catch your ear, but I felt like there was something that's kind of what adds this like very almost like ghostly feel to it, to go more into a head voice rather than, you know, to project louder, to have it come from like my diaphragm. But now you just felt like it suited the song so much more, and I felt like it was kind of paving the way. So there's that, but also the harmony here. I did the main vocal and I did the background vocals before adding in the strings, but that inspired the cello part that I actually wrote. So if we do this over here. Because if you listen to it, I feel like it just carries so well, like it creates such a solid foundation. So when I heard that I had done that on the background vocal, I was like, the cello has to be there to add that extra layer to make it just feel more solid. I feel like it adds such a grounding feeling to it. Subtle, but you heard the cello kind of pop in there. They're doing the same thing, and I layered it like that on purpose with so much like head voice and flipping and softness, as well as with the violins added in. I just really needed it to feel grounded. So there's that. I love vocals and I love explaining vocals, but let us continue. Let's continue. Let's keep going. That was just fun. That was just fun for me to do. I'm kind of doing like a call and response thing with the background vocals. I'm all too early. It feels like it's creating space, almost like when you add reverb, you can feel space in a room. I feel like with the call and response, it's like there's the main vocal, but then you hear something else in the background kind of calling to you a little bit, and I feel like it just adds that much more like depth to it. But anyways, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I could talk about this stuff all day. I love vocals so much.
Something that I never even did.
That's fun. I love that. So one trend that I'm noticing that I wasn't like consciously doing, but that I'm seeing that I do a lot is that I repeat like the last words of the last line, but then I change the note into one that's going to complement the next lyric that's coming up ahead. It's almost like something is holding you or nurturing you or, you know, easing you into the next line. And I think that idea of having like comfort carry you into the next thing, like the next line, which could be hard to deliver, that was something in a way where I was kind of nurturing myself through this song, kind of like, okay, next line, like, because some of these lines are very difficult for me to sing or perform just due to the emotion of it all. So this is where you hear the staccato in the song.
I'm tired, my tears could have put out the fire.
So there I made sure not to flip into my head voice when going higher, because obviously it's like a build up and there's a lot more emotion there. That's when that felt right for me to just stick to the rather than you know, like it's just I wanted it to just hit a lot. I just wanted it to feel a lot more impactful, so I made sure I didn't go into my head voice. But if you could hear the harmony here, I'm literally just going and I like that because the strings are doing staccato, so there is nothing that's kind of holding ground other than just that. And it's nice. I like that the strings didn't do that. I like that the strings went in a completely different direction, but you could still hear the background creating such like a solid little place, you know, for the vocal to really just sit on top of nicely. But anyways, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing it.
Tomorrow came all too early.
I hear myself getting, because I obviously know myself, I can hear myself getting emotional in that last, in this last part over here. It kind of ends in a way that isn't like that pleasing to the ear and like a little bit off, honestly. But I kept that in there specifically because I feel like you can hear the emotion behind it. Feelings are not clean, clear, and concise. Feelings are very much messy, and it's like when you spill something, it kind of just splatters. And I felt like, although I wanted a very clean vocal delivery for the song, I also thought that leaving a little bit of that feeling, you know, a little bit of something that kind of leaves the ear a little bit uncomfortable, I think that it just adds that emotional context that I feel art requires sometimes outside of a perfect delivery. So I made sure to keep that part in because that's what art is about. It's about transmuting your emotions into something, right? So that's my way of doing that.
Make it
I love that. I love that. Let's hear what that sounds like with the song. So this part is a lot of going from a high note down, 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 down with the runs, right? It's just supposed to put you in some sort of limbo. I really feel it's supposed to feel very airy in your head and then kind of coming crashing down in a way. I feel like those runs really are painting the picture. I feel like runs almost add like the shapes, and those shapes evoke certain emotions or are creating the actual like landscape of sorts, the hills, you know, the environment. They physically take you somewhere, while I feel like harmonies add the colors and the hues and the paints and the depth and that's just how obviously I perceive the music. A lot of these things, when it comes to the vocals, I had literally no plan for them, but I had the guitar part and I knew it was weird because I knew I wanted to do a key change throughout the song. So it's almost like there's this flipping nature with the key change alone already, and with the context of the song and what it's about, I feel like grieving and mourning is so not linear, you know, that's something that they say a lot, and like sometimes it just fucking hits you and you're like sitting in a room, but you feel like you're in a completely different room out of nowhere. And I just wanted to somehow create a sonic representation of what that felt like. And so this was my way of doing it. So really, as I'm breaking down the vocals and analyzing them, I'm looking at them from a completely different perspective now that I'm sitting back and seeing like subconsciously like what I was doing at the time. Because really, I just sang and this is what came out. And I'm very proud of it for that reason. But I feel like it sonically really aligns with how I felt, and that's my greatest achievement with this song. I was able to transmute how I felt into a song, and it was such a new feeling to me. It was one of my first experiences with grieving and mourning. You know, I was really able to nurture myself and be kind to myself with creating this song, and I was constantly in a room full of people that I loved throughout it. All of my friends helped me with it from start to finish, so it was like I had that emotional support. Sorry, I get so emotional when I think about this song too much or when I listen to it too much. Even to this day, seeing it is still a challenge. It's still very difficult, and honestly, that's how I know I did a good job, because I feel those feelings again, and that just means that I captured them, right? And to honor my emotions and my human experience in that way for myself is my mission when it comes to making art. And so, but I'm also just so happy to know that people enjoy listening to it and maybe have their own personal experience with it. And if you've taken the time to listen to the song, genuinely, thank you so much. It means a lot, you know, so thank you. Yeah. Anyways, let's finish this thing up. Let's finish it up. Let's go to the outro.
I hope it doesn't hurt like this till I'm 30. And if it doesn't, then I hope that tomorrow comes early.
Like, now that I'm really listening to this, I realize that the harmony is such a caretaker to the main vocal, and harmonies I feel like are always supposed to obviously harmonies are always supposed to complement the main vocal, but it just feels so like the harmony feels so motherly in a way, and I don't know how to explain it. It's like a guiding, it's a foundation. It's very foundational. It's constantly guiding into the next line. And this part towards the end, honestly, there's a little I really love that part. The feels very like comforting, almost like a lullaby, but that it feels almost playful, and I feel like it's like when your friend is done crying and you crack a joke just to make them smile a little bit. I feel like that's that as a harmony right there. And it was kind of, I think that I did it just because I kind of heard it in my head and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can, you know, build off of that. But I didn't, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it's just a very simple detail in the background, but it has so much like meaning, because it's one of the only things in this song that sounds very playful in that way. It's like, and it's right at the end when you really have just gone through this emotional roller coaster and you're really in the depths of it. And I say in the depths of it because in my main vocal,
I hope that tomorrow comes early.
like I'm literally in the depths of like my vocal placement. Early. There's almost like this very low scoop that I'm physically doing when I sing that. And so it's kind of nice because while that is really happening and you're almost just like, you're really there and you're really just feeling that and I can physically feel myself going deeper in that way. You just have this little playful note going on.
And if it doesn't, then I hope.
I like that. Oh. So it's just nice. I feel like in this case with this song, the harmony just adds so much love and care and nourishment to a very strong main vocal that's really kind of all over the place in a way. We're flipping into the head voice, back down, like we're doing a key change. We're going from minor to major, major to minor. So it's constantly like bop, 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 bop. Meanwhile, the harmony is just such a foundational thing that's kind of almost guiding you into the next part without it being such like a crazy transition, but it's also creating that space for it too. And I feel like it's like a mom or a friend in that way where it's like, I'm gonna allow you to have like the space that you need and we're gonna talk about our feelings. But you know, I'm also gonna like make sure to support you through that. And that's what that feels like. And honestly, that's like a very beautiful thing. And I'm very happy about this analysis, this vocal analysis, because I was able to take a lot from it too, and just like understand myself a little bit more and the ways that I nourish and love myself and how I transmute through music. So thank you for sitting with me through that. But that's that on the vocal analysis of it. And I'm gonna be so for real with you right now. I literally think that I only put reverb and compression on my voice as far as the actual mixing goes. That's literally it. Most of like, yeah, it's just deverb, high key. I just put deverb on my voice. I didn't really do anything crazy, I don't think. Yeah, very simple stuff. I didn't do any like flex pitch or anything like that. I don't melodyne. I don't melodyne my voice, although I do think it's a wonderful tool. I just really wanted my voice to feel very raw and close to literally like a raw take. Okay, so this is my voice with the reverb. So that's my raw vocal without.
Make it, 'cause tomorrow came early.
That's it. So thank you so much for doing this vocal analysis with me. This is super fun. Yeah, if you got this far, I really appreciate you. I love vocals. I could talk about them all day long. Yeah, I don't know. I love vocals so much, and I think this was just super fun for me to analyze something that I kind of did. So like, this was just flow of consciousness, so to be able to look back and analyze it and find a lot to appreciate about it, I don't know, I think it like, I think it literally healed something in me, so yeah, thank you so much for watching this part, and I will see you at the next one. Hey!
What you got going on there?
I'm doing like a breakdown on like how I did my vocals for this song, explaining I was sad, so I sing it like this. And then I was angry, so then I sing it like that. Yeah. Yeah, feel free to say hi to the camera. That's Sione. I think you're a little too tall. Y'all are both a little too tall for
What's
this.
going on?
And then Pedro, hey, returning guest.
Get up out of here.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Hell yeah, man.
Bye. I'll be in here talking to myself because I'm crazy.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Wait, what? Those are my friends, you guys.